We recognize those individuals that are making tables and making seats for those of us who don't have the capacity, don't have the will. There are activists in our community who are committed to the betterment of not just this generation and their own dinner table, but the entire dinner table and redevelopment of our community's mindset. One of such individuals and a true activist, a true dedicated young man, Jamal Green. Hey, Jamal, how are you?
What's up? I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Welcome to a seat at the table, man.
Hey, I'm happy to
Congratulations.
be at the
There's
table.
been some progress. I'm glad to hear that. There's been some progress. Why don't you bring, for those who don't know, we started about what? How long ago you been on this mission?
We fought Chase since June
June.
1st, I believe, actually. Yeah.
So what do we count this? 6 months, 12 months?
No, not that long, but it's been a good July, August, September, October. Yeah, been a good 4 months, and so 4 months and about days we got results.
All right. And so for those who don't know, because many people think they know Chicago but haven't been,
Right.
How would you describe yourself so that the individuals would know?
Well, I would describe myself as a community member that is very concerned about the oppressive systems that have been in place for too long, and wanting to do something, step up and change them. I've been an organizer for several years now, but it wasn't a choice. This was something that I was that God, in my eyes, put in front of me to do. When I was growing up in a neighborhood that was invested from banks, from the government, from corporations. And I was like, if I live to see the age of 21, I need to leave. Until I got old enough to understand what was really going on around me and wanted to change things for the betterment of all of the next generations of children that were coming up in the same neighborhoods that I was from. And so organizing against social justice, organizing for social justice, against police brutality, like helping to lead the Laquan McDonald movement, which today is the 6-year anniversary from the day that Laquan McDonald was shot 16 times by Jason Van Dyke. And so leading that movement and movements against politicians who take us for granted, and now fighting the biggest financial institution in the country, because since 2012, out of $7.5 billion in home loans, Black communities on the south and west side of Chicago only got 1.9% of that. Yeah, 1.9% of 7.5 billion went to Black neighborhoods. So they've been redlining us and hurting us.
Everybody's not good at numbers. So
everybody not good. It's around about $142 million out of 7.5 billion in all of those years. So when you look at that, you'd be like, south and west sides, both sides are bigger than the north side. And if you put them together, they're definitely bigger than the rest of the city. And the fact that our communities weren't even getting 2% when we got bank branches all throughout our communities, they're using Black faces on their promotions and hiring a few Black folks to look like they're being diverse, but they have racist lending policies, even after building their banks off of the backs of our ancestors, because J.P. Morgan was a slave owner. It's just crazy to me to see those numbers. Out of 10 of the largest banks in the city, Chase Bank had the worst record. Now they're the largest. They're the largest. They have the most branches. They own the most share of the market. They own 22% of the bank market here. They had the worst record for lending to Black people. Now that's just insane.
So when you think about the insanity, why did they decide to listen to the demands?
So that's a good question. So let's just say that, we built a coalition of folks who are in different sectors that work with Chase. Met with the head treasurers in the state, brought together organizations who are funded by Chase, who joined the call, even the head of the Department of Housing Services, which get most of their funding from Chase, came out and joined our call asking for $1 billion from Chase. And then we shut down dozens of branches throughout the city of Chicago for days at a time. They even banned me from every Chase in America. And I told them, listen, I was kicked out of 9 schools as a kid. You know, I'd have been banned from better places than a bank branch, okay? And so, you know, they started, and this is how the fight goes. You fight these big racist institutions. They try to use ways to hurt you, or they use the police to, you know, threaten to arrest you. But then after you are still consistent in your efforts or persistent, what happens is they end up folding. And that's exactly what happened in this case. We fought them all the way to the finish line. The week before they released this news, we shut down 7 branches at one time downtown. On the 1st, October 1st, there were no Chase branches open downtown on the most busiest day of the month. And so we were letting them know we were not having it, and you guys need to bring forward something tangible. They did. I'll say it's not enough, but it's definitely the biggest financial win that we've seen in activism history here in Chicago.
So when you say win, for those who don't know, what was the win?
Yes.
How are we going to measure that win over the next 5
Yes.
years? Obviously, you know, we want to be involved, but, you know,
Definitely.
the other thing is people that don't know about activism, because what I do want people to understand is how you went about shutting down branches.
Okay, so I'll answer that first, and then I get to the win. So what we did with the branches is that we strategically chose certain branches where there are going to be a lot of traffic. We had proxies that were of different races and folks who are in the inside. And what we would do is we would go and occupy the branch until they shut it down. And so we would have protesters go into the branch. They would yell different, all of these facts that I've told you, and tell all of the bank customers that are there what Chase has been doing, pass out flyers. And then what happens is the managers, due to an emergency, they put up a closing sign and they shut down the branch for the rest of the day. And so they occupy the branch until the branch managers shut the branch down. And so that's basically what happens. And so they will be shut down for the rest of the day. They'll send home their employees and cut the lights off. And so we did that with 7 major branches downtown on the 1st, all at one time. So it was a pretty hectic day for Chase, and they got a lot of calls up to the top. So that is how you get the calls to go all the way up the chain. Is I've already had meetings with some of the bank executives at the top, and they weren't saying anything. And so I would hang up on them, and I would tell them what they need to do. And then when we shut down those branches, what happens is those managers call their managers call their managers, like, I'm so tired of JaMals and them shutting down our branches. We don't know what to do. We're paying out all this money and folks can't work. And it gets all the way up to the top until somebody figures out, all right, we got to do something. So to the win, what happened is Chase committed to a larger plan, which was $30 billion, and to fight for racial inequality. To I forgot what their crazy wording, because it really didn't make that much sense. But outside of the $30 billion, they're dedicated to racial equity around the country. They made a separate targeted investment of $1 billion that's going to the city of Chicago because of our protests. And so what that billion is that $600 million will be put out in home loans and grants for the next 5 years. They have a 5-year plan for that. So they only got 5 years to put this money out. And so each homeowner would get $8,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. Then they're also hiring folks to in these branches by salary, not commission, to walk people through the home lending process to make sure that folks know how to buy a home. And this is no commission. So they're going to walk them through every step, and they're going to put them through all of the branches with salary. Then they're going to do they're putting money up towards financial literacy. They put money up for small business startups, and a range of stuff in between. But that's really the bulk of it. And so how are we going to hold them accountable to make sure that this money gets into the right hands? Because as we know, these racist institutions like to throw money to some organizations and be like, we helped. No, I'm going to hold them accountable to make sure that every dollar is accounted for. I'm teaming up with Black aldermen, and I had a meeting with the Black Caucus. We got folks from the state, folks from the city, elected officials. We got folks in different sectors, private sectors, that are all coming together to say we have to put a committee together. And a lot of them are pushing me to help lead that committee to oversee dispersal of the funds, as well as the communication throughout our neighborhoods, because you guys already aren't connected to our neighborhood. So no reason why you should say something, but you don't have nobody that's tied to Inglewood or Gresham or Chatham or Austin on your team to show you how to really facilitate this money and make sure people know how to get it and how to own a home.
So at the end of the day, the developers, are we going to have developers on the South Side? Do we have a master plan for the South Side and home ownership? Also for some of the older inventory, are we going to have some of those homes that literally need to get the support of a Chase?
Definitely. So the first thing you said is so important, right? And this is why I'm pushing our folks in the city to really get involved in this effort. Because the big thing is the main developers in the city are not Black, right? And so what we know, just like last week, we had one developer bid, $15 million, I think, or so, or 18 million for like 600 properties that were all in different neighborhoods throughout the city that they have no ties to. We don't know what they're going to do. We can't hold them accountable for. And we've been fighting them to block that sale. We need more Black developers. All right. And that's the truth. We need more Black developers.
To Atlanta, because we got tons of developers, Black developers.
Yeah, we need them. We need them here in Chicago. We need Black developers. We need Black CDFIs, is what they call them here, and basically those nonprofits who help to distribute that money to the communities. And all of them are white here in Chicago. So we need folks who are not just trying to take advantage of a few homes for themselves, but folks who can actually put together plans and help to develop these neighborhoods. Because when I'm fighting these financial institutions and I'm shaking the tree, like my friend, one of my good close friends says, is that, we got the tree shakers and we got the applesauce makers. He said, I just make the applesauce. I'm not creative. JaMals do all of that and shaking the tree, and then I just make the applesauce and make it happen. We need some more applesauce makers, Black applesauce makers in the city of Chicago who can develop and put together plans and make things happen. And right now is the time.
Right. So probably even having a national call around the country. Literally, one of the keys would be to figure out even additionally what other banks have them. I know there's an association of CDIs that are Black. So
right.
that is true. So we probably want to get that. And I think they're called the CDFI Alliance.
Okay.
And
we gotta hold them accountable, because Chase is also giving millions to all of the CDFIs, right, and none of them are Black. So they're giving them all of it.
There's an alliance of Black CDFIs.
And we need those. But the main ones here for the south and west sides of Chicago, Chase is about to give all of them millions because of this movement. They've already received phone calls, I've heard. So, this is our time to really start looking at how this money is getting to the communities, so we can step in, right? And not just be at the end of the line trying to get the crumbs. We talking about folks who going to be the CDFIs, folks who going to be the developers, and, not developers who don't have mission focus, a mission focus for the community. Because I know a couple Black developers who came in, got one big project, got their millions, and was like, all right, I'm good. We need some developers who care about the community to come in and say, we're gonna make sure this is affordable. How we're gonna buy all of this up and build affordable housing right here. We're gonna build a grocery store right here. We're going to really help to revitalize these neighborhoods in the city. And that's what I'm looking to do.
So the Community Development Financial Institutions AA affiliation. So I'll send that to you. I know it's a group.
Please.
They're there.
We need them.
I think the other question for me is, how does this movement speak to ending these racist institutions? What must we continue to do? Because I don't want in this uprising that all of a sudden relax. They got 22% of the market. Where is the other 78?
Come on. So now we can't relax. And as everybody that knows me, y'all know I don't never relax. But I need everybody to just like you said, this is a real movement to fight all of these institutions. And I'm pushing out the call for folks all across this country. What I'm doing in Chicago, I got a base of hundreds of thousands that are in other cities looking, and I want them in their communities to be able to move forward these type of movements, not just against a Chase, but against other financial institutions, against payday loan companies, against currency exchanges, taking advantage of folks who ain't got bank accounts. Like we have, if you look at, let me just say this, our larger goal for this movement is to make sure we close the wealth gap in this country. If we close the wealth gap, all of the problems that we're fighting against today, we will have more control over them. And what I mean by that wealth gap is the average white family has $170,000 in net worth, while the average Black family has only 10% of that, $17,000 in net worth. And so when you talk about closing that wealth gap, you're talking about home ownership, you're talking about entrepreneurship, all right? And folks have to start to come together, pool out, start to collaborate, start to invest in themselves and each other, start to collaborate with each other so that we can create an economy in our neighborhoods like a Black Wall Street, right? And be able to create the opportunities for these young people that are on these streets, be able to leave things to our kids and leave a legacy and leave wealth to our kids so that dollar can stay in our communities. And once we have that control, then we can change that to political control, because when we got financial control, we can fund our own politicians, and our own politicians are going to be doing what's in the best interest of our community. And so now we got political power, but we can never have real political power in this country until we have economic power. And with all of us having $17,000 in net worth around the country, we're not nowhere near where we should be. We got a lot of work to do, and everybody should take one fight and help us fight it.
How important is home ownership in removing the wealth gap?
Very, very, very important. I mean, look at it like, how I look at it is an equity, right, is such an important thing. Having assets, right, for Black people. That's one of the biggest things that I preach about on my page. I always talk about how, we have this amount of money, and then our expenses is this amount of money, and we think we're doing something, right? Like we don't have any assets. We don't have ownership in anything. And if we don't have ownership, then we have no real power in this country. This is a capitalistic country, okay? And if you don't have ownership, you'll always be controlled, right? So if you're continuing to rent, then the government or developers or somebody will always have a plan for your neighborhood, and you may not be a part of that plan, and they can move you out the way. Home ownership is so important, so that we can own in our community, so that we can have things to leave down to our kids. But most importantly, when it comes to wealth, and when we're talking about equity, it is just an important thing for all of us to stop being renters and to start owning.
So why don't you share your social media handles so people can follow you and stay in contact with this movement?
Yeah, so you can follow me at J Green on Facebook, JA''Mal Green as the color, on Twitter and Instagram at JaMals Green, JaYMAL Green as the color. And just take, it's so many things, so many ways that we can fight this. And I just want all of us to understand that we can do it. If we all take, just take one thing. I may be fighting the banks. Mr. Steve may be fighting the payday loan companies who charging 139% increase in a $375 loan for 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like these predatory lending companies, these we shouldn't be allowing, we should be pushing our legislators to stop these lending companies from giving these 18 to 25-year-old kids or kids or young adults a 20, 25, 30% APR on a car, preparing them to file bankruptcy by the age of 30. You know, we got to fight this. When we talk about economics, we got to look at everybody involved, right? The lending companies, the banks, to the government. And it's such a large fight. I can't fight it by myself. You know, we beat up Chase pretty bad. That was a big move, but there's so many more who are doing the same thing. So we all got to fight it together.
Right. Well, say your handle is JaMal Green on all your social.
Yes. If you look up capital MAL Green, you'll find me everywhere. It'll be hard.
Cool. Well, let us know how we can continue to help. I need an opt-ed as soon as you can get one written on the vision so that people can have it and move.
Yeah, no problem.
Obviously, we want them to advertise with our community, and we really need
definitely.
Yeah, because I'm not sure they do the best job at that either.
I think what needs to happen here's my plan. The Black media companies. What needs to happen is we got to come together and let's put together a plan on how to push this with a Chase and say, well, if you guys are going to be distributing money, you're going to have to communicate to our people. And if you don't communicate through our outlets, then you're just, it's just a smokescreen. How are people going to know how to get this money, where to come, when to come, who to come to? And so our media companies like rolling out, we have to utilize these companies to put out that message. And I think that's how we force Chase right now.
So let's have a work session. Let's have a community meeting to talk about mission critical and just create some KPIs that we will pay attention to as our community. We need those key performance indicators. So there's just not a big announcement. And developers, we want to see every developer. Right. All the CAFIs before it gets to where it sells.
We need transparency, 100% with Chase. So we got to work. Let's do it.
All right. Well, Brother Green, we appreciate you coming on, a seat at the table. Don't stay away so long. Let's check in at least monthly to know exactly how this is moving. Very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Stay ahead, stay ahead, stay ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you, Roland. All right.
You do not have to be in the struggle. Nope. You do have to be in the struggle, but you don't have to be in the streets. You don't have to be in the streets, but you do have to be in the struggle. This is Munson Steve. We'll see you for more. A seat at the table. It's just important. Be involved, stay aware, and stay involved in this struggle. See you next week. Peace.